Welcome to the Poleshift News, home of the Mavstar Observatory. Guys, you know what we do here. We track the magnetic migrating North Pole. I thought it would be a good idea in this upload not only to include the exact position of where the magnetic North Pole is, but also give you a quick update as to what we're doing with that cloud generator. But as always, guys, big thanks to the few people that are supporting us. You know, we're not NASA, but there isn't one NASA scientist that is doing exactly what I'm doing here at this observatory. I am the electronics engineer, the electronics designer and the programmer, and you know, I also process all this information. I also build, as you guys know, all the equipment that you see we display working. We also add a lot of other anomaly data to our website for you guys, so that you can, you know, get a good idea as to what's going on. So big thanks to the few people that are supporting us. And guys, we're having another month with low support for some reason. I think it could be to do with, you know, just the time of the year or the time of the month, I don't know. But you know, I do panic a little bit when I'm spending, like I have done just this week, £100 on, you know, parts and components to carry on building these things and maintaining these things. And you know, when I don't see it coming back, I get a little bit worried. So you know, all I'm asking for is a bit of support, guys, that's all, and I can keep this going. So yeah, we've moved around 4 miles in 1 month, and that means we're moving 4 miles closer to that 40-degree mark. Not only that, you know, guys, if you look at the charts, you'll see that there's been some big movement over the last month's recording, just like the 2 months before that. And this is new territory, guys. Don't think that this is you know, normal behaviour, because for the 2 years we've been tracking the magnetic North Pole every 3 seconds. You know, this has only started to really take place in the last 3 months. There has been some acceleration in the behaviour of the magnetic North Pole, and what that equates to, if you look at the data on the website, you'll see that it fluctuates between 9 degrees and 13 degrees. And that equates to around about 250 miles shift easterly and then back to where its current position is today, that you can see marked with that purple marker in the centre of the screen right now on the 20th of the 7th 2019. This is dramatic behaviour that we're seeing now over the northern hemisphere, and like I say, it could easily be moving westerly at that same rate, but for some reason we don't understand it right now, why it's just moving backwards, you know, 250 miles and then going back to its current position. But what I do know is that when we did experiments and we saw the wobbling of the magnetic North Pole, or the compass needle in our experiments, when we rotated the magnetic poles, you know, over, we saw that before the magnetic pole reversed on the compass, or the compass needle reversed, it did this twitching behaviour. So we could be getting close to some really exciting activity. And if that is the case, guys, I always say this, if we just look at what's happened over the last 30 years with regards to the magnetic North Pole, and then compare how much our weather systems have changed on this planet with regards to the jet streams, the increase in cosmic particles due to a weakened magnetosphere and the grand solar minimum, then what we can expect during a magnetic reversal is a completed or near complete diminishing magnetosphere, which will bombard us with cosmic particles. And why is it serious? Why are we building the cloud chamber? Why is it so serious to focus on cosmic particles? Because they don't just, guys, seriously cause you know, a lot more cloud nuclei in our atmosphere. They are also carcinogenic, and when they increase the risk of cancer. And not only that, as recent studies have found, you know, they are now changing cardiac arrhythmic rhythms. Think about it. This is absolutely deadly serious stuff. That's why we're focusing on cosmic radiation from now on, as well as the migrating North Pole, because these two things, right, first of all, the migrating pole affects the jet streams, puts more water in the atmosphere, causes floods, crops go offline as a result, and then on top of that we have an increased risk of cancer. So it's serious, guys, and the closer we get to that 40-degree mark, the closer we get to seeing more activity escalate. And like I say, we have gradually seen a migration over the last 30 years, and we've seen it go up a gear 3 times, so it's covered more distance in shorter spaces of time. But when we pass that 40-degree mark, the poles will begin to reverse on this planet. And all I'm saying to you guys is now is the time to support us, because this is where it's all starting to get exciting. You know, in just 1 month, guys, the magnetic North Pole has migrated west by 4 miles. The GPS, if you want the longitude and latitude of the magnetic North Pole today, it is 84.08 degrees north by 128.53 degrees east. That's the position. If you've got Google Earth and you want to pin where the magnetic North Pole is today, those are the coordinates for it. So, you know, guys, have a look at the progression that we've been doing. We've made some headway in the cloud generator, and the reason why we're building the cloud generator is because we want to see firsthand what cosmic particles look like as they excite the alcohol vapor in the bottom of the cloud chamber, which is driven down to sub-zero temperatures of about minus 45 to 50 degrees Celsius, and it gives us a good vision of the cosmic radiation within a small area of the surface of the Earth. We can, you know, escalate that area, and we can then start to make some predictions as to how much cosmic radiation we're getting inbound daily over a square mile. That's why we do things in a laboratory at a small level. It's so that we can scale them up, and we can say over a square mile, you know, we've had this over, you know, square 6 inches. We could say that if this was escalated, we'd have this over a square mile, and it would give us an idea to the quantity of how much cosmic radiation we're getting inbound. And if this is increasing, then we'll have a good idea. But the main thing is to give you a visual on what cosmic particles look like, and if we're lucky, as well as other people with the cloud generators have been, if we're lucky, we're going to see some strikes where they collide with other particles and they branch off, and it's all very exciting stuff, guys. So let's run the video that I've done earlier on, just showing you, you know, the improvements that have been made with the cloud chamber, and the comparison between the old method with the air-cooled computer heatsink compared to now the new water-cooled method that we're going to approach, and you know, just get better results on a whole as a result of that. So I'll run forward the video for you. Quick update on how the progression's getting with the new cloud generator design. So just a recap, guys, you can see that we was calling the original cloud generator down by just 2 fans and a computer heatsink, and we got an array of 3 Peltier elements. We was running them at different voltages, if you remember. I think the top one was 5 volts, then the next one was 10 volts, and then the next one beneath that was 12 volts. And we was taking the power supply from them off this computer PC power supply. We've got an array of LEDs around there. If you go back in the videos, you'll see. And we were getting reasonable low temperatures. I think the best we ever achieve was about minus 35 degrees Celsius. But it wasn't enough. So we've now changed it to a liquid cooled Peltier array, and it's going to be experimental from this point on. I know that we've gone overkill on the rate of water that we cycle on these. It's something like 600 litres a minute, and we're running 2 pumps, 1 for each block that's joined together, as you can see. We're running 6 Peltiers on the top, and so long as we can keep the bottom of these Peltiers cold, we can keep dropping the temperature at the top of the Peltier, because the way these work is when you connect electricity to them, they keep the top part of the Peltier cold, and then the underneath the part of the Peltier dispels the heat, and you need to remove that from the Peltier element. So we're going to connect these water blocks up to it, as you can see, and we're going to cycle 600 litres a minute of water around those, and we've got an humongous array of fans built onto a radiator, which should keep us nice and cold. Now, failing that, guys, I've got a plan B. We're going to drop another peltier on top of each one of these, and that will reduce the temperature. The bottom, this peltier will keep the bottom part of the top peltier cold, and it will send the top peltier on top of this even cooler. I'm hoping, I would like to say that we could achieve minus 50 degrees Celsius. If we can do that, it's more than enough for what we want. We'll get good condensation of isopropyl alcohol, that over there, and if we can do that, then we'll achieve great results when viewing cosmic radiation passing through this, which is on the increase. The only reason I've built this, guys, is to show you firsthand what is actually on the increase. There's nothing new about these. Recently, people have been using, water-cooled radiators and things like that to build working cloud generators. But originally, how they used to build them was with dried ice, CO2. Now, I could have went for a easy option, guys, and as you know, I never do that. I didn't do it with the Trimag system. I wanted a wireless system. I created all sorts of problems for myself, but now we've got an all singing, dancing Trimag, which keeps an eye on what's going on over the magnetic North Pole every 3 seconds and transmits that data from an array of magnetometers in the loft in my property to a master system over there, which you can see just blinking. See that? Just blinks every 3 seconds. There you go. And then collects a bit of data, stores it to the SD card. So I could have went for the easy option. I could have rented a CO2 bottle, brought the adapter to make my own dried ice, and got this cloud generator showing you what we wanted. But the whole idea is to mount a camera permanently over the chamber and have this system running permanently to see exactly how much cosmic radiation we get during the daytime and during the night time, and just see if it does increase, because we're at a grand solar minimum. You've seen the charts that I've showed you on the website, and you know that when we get low solar activity we get an increase in cosmic radiation. You also know that as the magnetosphere weakens, we also, for that reason, get an increase in the cosmic radiation. So, we're making some good progress. You can see I've tidied up all these wires now on the peltiers. We've just got 2 wires which connects to the main power supply over here, and I've got to wait now probably a week for the radiators and fans. I've ordered some tubing, and I've also ordered 2 pumps that can cycle the water around the system, so we're not far off. Guys, I'd switch this on now and show you, but I'll tell you exactly what would happen if I switch this on now. It'd perform worse than that because there's no water cycling around the blocks beneath it. So they would go cold. We'd probably hit minus 15 degrees Celsius, but what would happen, because there's nothing cool in the bottom of the peltier, is the top would get hot and the whole thing would begin to fail as a result. But I will tell you one thing that's unique about these, and I have seen people building them, and that is furnace electrical generators. They're using the thermal heat of a furnace and they're attaching these peltiers to it, and in turn they produce electricity. So you can do 2 things with these. You can connect them up to the electricity and they will turn things very cold on the top of the peltier and very hot on the back, or you could just place this peltier next to a heat source and it would produce electricity just like a solar panel. I think one of the days we'll show you that experiment working. We'll connect one of these peltiers up to a multimeter, and I'll get our rework station hot air gun, this thing here, and I'll just heat the back of the peltier and you'll see the voltage being generated. It's actually enough to light an LED, but when you get an array of them, you can collect the power off each peltier and generate electricity. It's not one of the commonest sources of collecting electrical energy, but it's possible to do it through peltiers. So, there you go, guys. That's the update with the cloud generator at the moment. So, this one has been backbenched now. It was very much a prototype. It was good to make. We learned a lot about it. But this one will be our high performance, hopefully, cloud generator. And we're going to see not just, cosmic particles, but hopefully collisions. Okay guys, I'm going to close out the video here, and I know it's a pain in the backside for a lot of you to hear it, but here it is. The fact is this: supporting this observatory is not compulsory. You can keep coming and getting free information on this topic, and I will say this: there isn't another website dedicated to it in the same manner as what we are. I see the links that people put up there in the comment section, but as soon as the one thing I do, I go straight to that website that they're saying that this is doing this, and I have a look. There's no archived data on the magnetic pole shift. They might show you some magnetometers, and I've got magnetometers from other stations on this website showing the same thing. They don't show you the archived data, they show you it live. So if you want to compare that from 2 weeks ago, you just can't on their data. You can see from day one when we tested the TriMag system, the data going back 2 years now, guys, on our website. There's not another YouTube channel on YouTube that does what we do. And I will say this: there isn't another scientist anywhere on this planet doing quite what I'm doing on this channel right now. I build my own equipment, I process my own data, I program my own equipment as well, and it is all crowd funded. There is no government organisation pumping money into this observatory, and that's why you get to see the data firsthand. You try and get that off the European Space Agency, try and get data off of NASA on this topic. It is weird, guys, because you can get data on volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, floods, everything, every other anomaly, even the sea ice extent over the northern and southern hemispheres of this planet. You can see jet streams, chemical particles, you name it, but you cannot get your hands on the gold, and that is the magnetic pole related data. Class 2 at the European Space Agency, you get nothing, and anything below class 2 isn't worth looking at. Why is that? It's probably because this is the most significant anomaly taking place in human history, and we have no recorded data as to what to expect when this Earth goes through a completed magnetic reversal, or even during an excursion. We don't know what devastation it can cause. We just know that from the research that we've conducted at this observatory is that it does change the weather dramatically. It alters the jet streams, and it changes seasons, and that affects farmers growing crops, and it also causes cancers, guys. So that might be a reason to give us a little push and a bit of support. 2,000 people are going to see this video later on, and out of those, I'll be surprised if a couple of people have chipped in some support for the video and the observatory. That's it at the end of the day. That's the rate at which we get supported on this channel. It needs to increase, guys. We've got nearly 25,000 people, and 24,500 of those are not supporting it. And yet this is the biggest event mankind will go through in this era. And this is the only source of information, giving it as it comes, as it is. So, there it is, guys. There's a link down there. PayPal, if you want to make a one-off, contribution to this, or there's the Patreon account. And I've seen the Patreon account dropping off as well, guys, by the way. So it is not good. It really needs to get a little bit better, because we're trying our best here. We've got magnetometers all around the world, and we're even trying to put more out so that we can collect more data and get more information to everybody else. So, you know, that's it at the end of the day. That's in a nutshell, guys. You know, I will continue regardless anyhow. So it's not compulsory, but it is great when we get a bit of support. That's all there is to say. You know what, guys? Have an amazing weekend. And as always, I'll be back. I'll say what I usually do. Bye for now.